How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Manatee Gaming. It's been a little bit since I made my last video, and that's because I took the time to actually really reorganize a lot of the apartment and my entire office. So maybe I'll do like a walk around of the office if you guys want to see that, but it looks amazing now. Obviously there's a green screen behind me, but it looks really nice. I'm very happy I took the time to do that. Also, I'm going to get back to the gym because the gym here is opened. So took a little bit of me time anyway, and took a little bit of a break from the last video. But anyway, let's jump back into it. Today's video is going to be talking about the recent exploit in RuneScape, and that's the wording that Jagex is using about it, but we'll get into it and I'll tell you I'll just tell you how I feel about the situation in this, and you guys can kind of make up your own minds too. But I think maybe the system that Jagex uses to like say what is an exploit, what is a bug abuse, and what is just their fault are very different things, and they change over time. Anyway, if we look into it really quickly, let's talk about the most recent thing that happened. So a lot of you probably know about the most recent thing that happened, which right here was a treasure hunter key exploit with Oddments. Right here in the news that they just talked about, they explain what they are doing to take action about it. To show you exactly how that worked in the game also, it was basically like this. Down here in the Oddment store, if you open up your Oddments, which you probably know where these are, if you click these right here, and I've got my screen zoomed in all weird and stuff like that, so that way you guys can see the screen better. So ignore if it looks kind of weird. But right here, the treasure hunter keys were on sale, and they went on sale for a 50% off, and they were 225 Oddments each. So that meant that you could buy a new key for 225 Oddments. Now, the way you get Oddments in the game is by, there's a few different ways you get Oddments, but the main way you get Oddment is by opening up your chests and using your keys in the game. When you use them, and I don't know why it's telling me this because I've already opened a lot of these, but when you use these keys, the way it works is simple like this. When you click on one of these and you use a key, it says you will receive 10 Oddments over here, and then you can also convert your prizes into Oddments also. I'm going to go ahead and select this just for this right here. But what people would do during this time is they would just keep on cashing in what they got for extra Oddments, as well as getting the new Oddments from opening the chest. Now, during this promo, getting rare chests is actually very common, and so when you get a rare chest or you get something that's like a much higher value in there, you get significantly more Oddments. A lot of you have probably seen it where you get 250 Oddments or something like that when you would cash it back. So you would get that in addition to the normal Oddments that you get when you open the chest. So what people would do is they would just open up as many as they possibly could, cash everything out for Oddments, and then go back in the Oddment store and buy more keys. Then they would come back in here and repeat. And I know it sounds kind of weird, like unless you're actually doing it, but the way it would work is you would essentially break even on opening up on the keys and then cashing in. But if you look at the bottom here, this bar right here, each time you fully fill up this bar, it gives you better and better rewards. So eventually you're getting a lot of Oddments on these two slots right here, which would allow you to stack up a ton of Oddments. So essentially whatever you get from the chest would just break even with the Oddment store purchasing the new keys, but then everything down here you'd be keeping for yourself, and then you'd eventually have a ton of extra Oddments, everything to buy a ton more keys, and you get the idea. So that is how the exploit worked. Here's the deal though. Here's the deal. Let's take a look at what they talked about right in here. And the reason why I wanted to make this video is because you guys probably know how I am. If I think something's a little weird or I don't really agree with something, I'm probably going to say it. And I'm going to have to say that I don't really agree with how Jagex responded to this. I would like to first start out by saying, well, actually here, let's talk about what they're doing. So what they're doing is they are actually going to, they say right here that we've identified around 4,000 players who attempted the exploit. There was no noticeable effect on either the economy or the XP gained on the day. So basically what they're saying is that those players didn't really affect the game itself, but it is unfair for them to gain those, to get that advantage. They said that they're going to put them into 3 different categories. The first one is players who tested it, so they just like tried it out and then quit doing it. So basically they're like, hey, look, this actually works, but then they decide not to do it. Those players are having no action taken against them. Then there's 835 accounts that clearly exploited it, and they're going to be banned for 72 hours. And then there's 65 accounts that severely exploited it, and those will be banned for 14 days, and they can also expect experience and item rollbacks. So my guess is they're going to be rolling back the experience and the items, everything that they gained from doing this. What you guys got to understand is that, like, this would have, like, you know, like, see right here, the discount became available around 11:30 game time, and then at 19:10 we removed it with a hotfix. That is like almost 8 hours that this was actually going. So it's a very long time that players were able to do this. So the players that did it, and they say that they did like a severely exploited discount, those guys are probably sitting there for like almost 8 hours rolling through all those keys and everything, going that stuff. They got thousands and thousands of things from it, like ridiculous amounts of XP and items and everything. Like, I know people from our Discord that were like, I got 20,000 proteans, and I'm like, 20,000 proteans? And that's not even, that's not severe exploitation. The people that got severe exploited probably had like 500,000 proteans or something like that. Anyway, though, here's the problem. And here's the problem that I personally feel about this. And I've got some other examples to show you guys too. But right here, Jagex made this event, right? They made the treasure hunter event. And then Jagex made the sale on keys. That wasn't a bug. People were not secretly getting keys for half off. People were not secretly doing a treasure hunter promo that was just, they were using some exploit to make it better than usual. They were just literally using exactly what was given to them. So during that time, Jagex did a half off sale, and then Jagex made that treasure hunter promo. The treasure hunter promo has also been around for longer than that too, and then the half off sale just happened to come up. Whoever decided to flip the switch in the half off sale did not check their work. They did not look at everything in the game and be like, if I make this sale, is that going to affect anything? They did not do that. And if they did do that, they need to reassess their work. That person needs to be talked to at Jagex. Now, the problem here, though, the problem seems kind of obvious, is that players are being banned for 14 days for doing something that was given to them in the game. Now, I understand this is a little bit of a gray thing, because you can sit here and you can be like, well, I mean, yeah, but like, obviously this is wrong. Is it obvious? Is it obvious? Because when things are in a game, I don't always sit here and think, oh, I mean, that seems too good. I probably shouldn't do that. Oh, I made 1.5. Oh, here. Yeah, actually, yeah. If you look at my own videos and you're like, he made 3 billion gold flipping on day 1 of archaeology. Does that mean that my account should be banned? Because did I exploit archaeology? Like, it's very gray. And the thing is if Jagex puts both those things in the game, it's like, why are you blaming players for that? Now, what I agree with, though, is rolling back the experience and items. If they make a mistake, if Jagex makes a mistake, if you guys that are watching Jagex, if you're watching this video, which I know you usually do, the rollbacks are fine. But banning for exploitation is not, that doesn't make any sense, guys. It really does not make any sense. Let's look at a different example of this. And I'm going to show you a different example of this that is a clear bug and exploit, and you'll be able to see the clear difference here as well. So right here, Dragon Bolts E. Anyone who remembers this one is probably laughing right now, because it was actually pretty funny. I mean, obviously I do not like actual bugs and everything. They damage the game. I love RuneScape. I love the community. I don't want the community damaged. That's the reason why, like, I want to be clear that when they said they're going to be rollbacks and everything, totally agree with that. Awesome. Do rollbacks. Don't ban people, though, for your mistake. But right here on Dragon Bolts E, we come down here. On February 2010, wow, I realize it's been a lot longer ago than I thought. February 2010, people were able to duplicate Dragon Bolts. So basically, what they did is they involved a glitch that produced 12 Dragon Bolts E when the enchant spell was cast, but only one unenchanted Dragon Bolt was used up per cast. Each cast made 70k profit, and then people performed this duplication over 1,000 times per hour for 70 million profit per hour. I'm just going to say, though, that we found money-making methods that are above 70 million per hour. But hey, this right here is an actual exploit, though, because the way it worked is you were essentially duping the Dragon Bolt's E. So when you would cast the spell on a Dragon Bolt, it would give you 12 of them. So that is literally a dupe. That is literally a bug. That was not intentional by Jagex. And that was something where if you're sitting there and you're like, I just duped Dragon Bolts. I mean, you know that that is a bug. Like, that is clear and a bug. So what did Jagex say about it? Well, right here is the response on this one. So they said the recent cheating that occurred and the abuse of the exploit has been dealt with very seriously, as this should, because this is actual bug abuse. We have excellent systems in place to catch and attack players who abuse bugs and take appropriate measures. I don't actually think that's true, and I really don't think it was true back in 2010, because something would not have been going on for 8 hours if that was true. And also, yeah, that's just not true. Come on. We have now banned 68 accounts permanently, with another 48 receiving temporary bans. Cool. There are further 117 accounts that got banned and then undergoing investigation. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But as you can see right here, a lot of people were banned from it. And this makes sense because this was a clear duplication bug. And anyone that noticed this, which I can understand, if you're just clicking and you're not paying attention, you might not have noticed right away. But after like an hour and you're like, wow, I suddenly made 70 million gold doing this, I think you would have realized, hey, there's something going on with my Dragon Bolts. So I understand that this right here was legit. This is real. This is something that people should get reprimanded for. People should get banned for this, obviously. But this? No. Roll back, guys. It was your fault. Let's look into one more thing that was clearly Jagex's fault that they decided to blame players for again. Now, this one right here was actually far worse than our current one. So I want to bring up this example because this example was so ridiculous when Jagex came forth and they said this was an exploit. Actually, I believe they called this one a bug abuse, which makes literally no sense. But let's talk about it and see how you feel about this one. So, Grotesque Souls. So if you remember Grotesque Souls, when these bad boys came out, the entire world too basically was people at the Grand Exchange trying to buy Grotesque Souls because you could trade them in the Grand Exchange. Now, I personally think that every time they come up with these things and they make them tradable, it's a mistake. I don't know though. I don't know. I mean, cool. If you want to make them tradable, that's fine. Here is the problem. Here's what happened. So right here, initially upon release, players were able to sell the Grotesque Souls for 2,100 gold each to any general store. This made them a profitable investment, and one could make an easy 105 to 210k every 10 minutes collecting them to sell to other players and to general stores. However, after launch, there was a hidden update removing the minimum price of 2,100 coins from the item entirely. I'm pretty sure they actually made a statement about this, but I wasn't able to find this one. But they actually blame this on a bug abuse, and there were players that got their account banned. There wasn't very many. I do not think this was one where they made like a huge announcement about it, but I remember players complaining and everything because people got banned because what they would do is they would go buy Grotesque Souls off people in World 2 and then go throw them all at the general store. Here's the thing that it was the problem with me. So Grotesque Souls were something that were tradable. They were tradable in the GE. They were tradable to a general store. Who made them tradable to the general store? Jagex did. Who set the price the general store buys them for? Jagex did. Why is this a bug exploit if you just go sell an item to the general store? Should I get worried every time I go sell willow logs to the general store because I might get too much gold for them and get my account banned? So this right here is another really insane example of blaming it on the players. So as you can see, there's a very clear difference between like Dragon Bolts, stuff like that, and that kind of exploit. Obviously, that's very bad. There are other exploits happening all the time, like people sneaking items into the duel arena, people that are they're DOSing people, and they're doing all kinds of things to players and everything that are actual bannable things. They're actual bug abuse. They're making players' accounts like making their clients crash. I was gonna say like they're DDoSing them, but I don't really know exactly what they're doing. But there are people that will make other people disconnect during the duel arena. I'm not going to say exactly what they're doing because I don't really know exactly what they're doing, but I know that's a common thing that happens in duel arena where people will go into a stake, the other person will get their account disconnected and they'll lose the stake. There are lots of bugs and things that people that are just not being addressed, and we're focusing on things like this where we're going to ban players for this when it clearly was not the player's fault that they were doing something that was in the game. Now, on a closing note though, obviously if you're sitting there and you realize that you're making 100,000 extra oddments, then it is probably something that you should tell Jagex about, and that should be removed and that should be rolled back. They should not be banned for it because it was not their fault. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I just want to say that I do definitely support Jagex, and the reason why I actually want to make this video is because I want to, just like kind of bring this to light about how these kind of situations are handled and how they actually look from the player, the consumer, and who actually sees these things. And maybe this will give some good insight on Jagex's teams when they're trying to make decisions like this, and when they're doing big thing here, when they're checking things before they put them in the game. That would be a good idea to make sure that you're not like, doing something ridiculous with Treasure Hunter. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.